the Nordiques had led by 2 and then trailed by 2 when Peter Stastny brought them back to tie it at 4 in the final period. His second of the game. The Nords looking for a sweep in Montreal. But the Canadiens snuffed out the comeback bid. Rick Green sets up Mats Naslund in front for the game winner. This one ends 6-4. Good evening, everyone. There is a lot of excitement in Quebec City tonight. At the morning skate today, both teams very tight. You could almost feel the tension. And now with the fans in the Colisée, the excitement is just electric. The Nords get home ice tonight. It has not been that much of an advantage for them all year against Montreal. The Canadiens have swept the 4 regular season games in this building. Well, how will they fare tonight? Let's go to Dan Kelly.
I'm right outside the dressing room of the Quebec Nordiques. This is a very emotional room. The Nordiques right now have home ice advantage after splitting in Montreal. But what they worry about, they've lost 5 in a row here against the Canadiens at their home building. Sometimes they feel, after talking to some of the players, they get too up for these games. They don't want to get too up. They want to be patient and play their own game tonight.
And the feeling on the dressing rooms on this side of the ice is score the first goal. The Canadiens are playing against a highly emotionally charged crowd. The idea, get the first goal against the Nordiques and try to silence them a bit. And if the Canadiens score the first goal in this game, it'll be a first in this playoff year. The Nordiques have scored the first goal every time they've played.
Joining our CTV crew tonight is Vancouver Canuck goaltender John Garrett. John, you used to be with the Nordiques. You were involved in these series with Montreal. Is the rivalry as intense as we all hear?
It's incredible. It's the most intense rivalry in the National Hockey League. Every time these two teams play, whether it be regular season or playoffs, the rivalry's there, the fans get involved, the press gets involved. Mario Tremblay's hated here in Quebec, Dale Hunter's hated in Montreal, and it goes on and on.
They tell me some of the players hate each other in these two teams.
Well, I think so. You can see them kibitzing back and forth this morning in the pregame skate, and that carries over into the game.
It should be a classic, Dan.
It'll also be interesting to see who gets to set the pace early tonight. The Canadiens like a slower pace. They want a tight checking game. The Nordiques excel in shootouts. We'll find out shortly. This is Carling O'Keefe Sports, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV.
Welcome back to Le Colisée in Quebec City. A beautiful city and a wonderful rivalry, Ron Roush, and you can almost cut it right through this building.
Well, standing ovation when the Nordiques came on the ice for the skate, which they're involved in now. This is a jam-packed Colisée. Look at the crowd. And Marcel Aubin, of course, who has been the guiding force behind a tremendous marketing job for this hockey club right here in this city. And there's the man who has carried this team so far in the playoffs. Peter Stastny scored his first 2 goals of the playoffs 2 nights ago in Montreal. One of them just a great goal, but he's been doing a lot of the playmaking for this team and is carrying them offensively. He's the key. If he's going well, the Nordiques are going well.
One of the big stories of this game, Ron, Pierre Mondeau out for most of the latter part of the season and unable to play in the playoffs because of an eye injury, is in uniform for Montreal tonight.
He's been practicing very, very well. There's Pierre right now. He had an eye injury. You see the face shield. He'll probably wear the rest of his career now. They say that there is no danger of any further injury to the eye. It's just a question of him gaining confidence now because he's lost a little bit of the vision. We'll touch on it during the game. But the confidence was the big problem for Pierre.
Meanwhile, you saw him play a couple of late regular season games, and he played very well.
And with the eye injury, but then he seemed to lose it again. Serge Savard told me prior to the game that was really the thing, and the Canadiens said, all right, well, look, if you don't feel right, sit back and just gather your confidence again, and we'll wait on you. And that's what happened. He's come back out, he's practiced well, and now here he is in the game.
Stand at center ice. The man in the middle, the referee, Bob Myers. Gord Brasseker and Gerard Gauthier are the linesmen. The off-ice officials for this game are from Buffalo.
And a couple of native sons in goal. Steve Penny, who's from Quebec City's suburban St. Foy, the home of Gaétan Boucher and Sylvie Bernier, among others. He's played every game in the playoffs for the Canadiens the last 2 seasons. And Mario Gosselin, who's from Thetford Mines, about 100 kilometers from here. They're both rookies, but they've been playing very, very well.
Here we go with Game 3 of the Adams division. It is Ryan Walter stepping in against Hunter of Quebec, and they just tumble over each other, and it's Robinson getting the puck to number 23, Gainey. Sliding it in. Walter into forecheck with Price. And back of the goal, it's number 21, Moeller, for Quebec. To Will Payma. Knocked away by Ludwig, but picked up by Hunter. And his brother checked him, knocked it away. Code to Hunter. Now to Payma in front of the net. And it was knocked away. And back come the Nordiques, led by their Hunter. He's checked in the play. The puck going to the corner. Price trying to get it. And number 32, Dale Hunter, then clears it out. And we're going to get a stoppage in play as Price and McPhee get each other tied up in the corner.
Seemed to be a hooking penalty out there. The faceoff will be outside the blue line, and we'll get Bob Myers' call here, but he has called a penalty. I'm not sure on which team. It may be Pat Price, who seems to be headed over towards the penalty box. So the Canadians are going to go on a power play early. The power play was stuttering for the Canadians. Let's take a look at it right now as they battled up against the boards. A certain amount of holding going on there, and Myers has called it.
When I was over, Braun, prior to the game tonight near the Nordique dressing room, their fear was they might be 2 up and they might take an early penalty, and that can hurt you against this Montreal power play.
Well, I touched on it at the beginning of the game, the fact that you have to get a goal early in this building. Let the Nordique get ahead of you, and you've got a problem because the crowd starts to go, and we've got
a double penalty. Hooking to Price plus an unsportsmanlike conduct call after just 35 seconds. So Quebec shorthanded, but Norm Rochefort shoots the puck to the Quebec or to the Montreal blue line, and it's taken there by Kerbers for the Canadians. Feeding Tremblay. Shot back out, and Chelios for Montreal. Number 24, the rookie Chris Chelios. Dropping it to Tom Kerbers, another rookie out of the United States, along with Chelios. Back to Kerbers. Mondu, number 6 for Montreal. Slides the puck. Gosselin leaving it for Rochefort, who tried to clear it. Knocked down, and then Gillis cleared it. Held in by Montreal. Here's Tremblay. Bumped by Gillis on the play. Naslund to Kerbers. To the side of the net. Mondu shot it just wide. Out in front, and they hit the goal post as Naslund was in at too sharp an angle. Naslund to Chelios. Return to Naslund. That's Naslund to Mondu. Cleared away by Brent Ashton at the last second. And Marois for Quebec. Now trying to clear it. Meanwhile, a penalty coming up on the play. An elbowing call it will be against Montreal. From Quebec City, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV.
Welcome to Miller time. It's brewed here. It's yours and mine. Bring your thirsty self right here. You've got the time. We've got the beer. For what you have in mind. Welcome to Miller time.
Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Welcome to Miller time.
Mario Tremblay off for elbowing at 146. What a great chance Mats Naslund had at the side of the net. This is the penalty coming up here as Rochefort moves in on him. Who got the elbow in there? The retaliation was what got Mario the 2 minutes. So now they're even strength, but the Canadians at the end of all this, barring any further penalties, will still have a 49-second power play. There's 2:49. Here's Mats Naslund at the side of the net. What a great chance he had now. He had an open side, and he hit it off the post and right through the crease.
So now each team a man short as the puck was dropped, but unfairly they'll do it over again. Situation is this: Tremblay's penalty just starting. Meanwhile, 2:49 left in the original penalty to Price of Quebec, which was a double minor. Now Carbonneau to Guinea for Montreal to Robinson. Feeding one up the middle. And number 21, Carbonneau. Drops it back to Guinea. Shot on goal. Mario Gosselin made an easy save and then held it for a faceoff.
Well, Mario Gosselin there as we look at the view on the ice from the Quebec bench. The Nordiques 10 home playoff games, a pretty good record, but the Canadians have owned them this year. 4-0, the Canadians. Michel Bergeron reacting to something down on the ice surface. He's making some changes now, and we'll have Peter Stastny and Anton Stastny out there. Key face-off deep in the
Think Michelle is a little upset?
Missed why? Didn't get the change he wanted? Or either that or Jacques Lemaire got a change in there that Bergeron didn't want to have happen. He's got home ice here. You'll see a real mind game between these two, Dan. They are really at each other all game long.
Here's Carbonneau and Dale Hunter on a face-off deep in the Nordique zone. Won by Quebec and Maxwell. Dropping it back of his own goal to number 6, Bruce Bell, the rookie. Now to Dale Hunter. Just sliding it in. Penny plays the puck into the corner, and Robinson controls for Montreal. Each team still a man short. Ahead to Craig Ludwig. Couldn't get around Brad Maxwell, and Bell controls for Quebec. Number 6, Bell, comes near center, flipping it in, and Robinson will chase back for the Canadians. Larry Robinson firing one. It's knocked down by Peter Stastny, and number 26, Peter Stastny, for Quebec to Bell. Back of the play, Peter Stastny and McPhee get tied up. Penalty coming up. Here's Anton Stastny into a bad angle. Centered out in front. Big save, Penny on Moeller from close in. And now the delayed penalty against Montreal from Quebec City. The Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV.
Ergonomics, the science of adapting work done and the tools used to human beings. Color to their sight. Comfort to their posture. Ease to their touch and control. Efficiency to their movements. And adaptable to you. The Ergo Intelligent Ericsson Personal Computer. Computing for the thinking woman.
Well, McPhee's in the penalty box for tripping on Stastny Peter, and Peter Stastny on the delayed whistle came right in, and his brother Anton set him up right in the slot. And take a look at this toe save here, right off that one. It was Randy Moeller who had pinched in, not Peter Stastny. Great save, and still nothing.
And now Montreal 2-man short. Quebec just won a 4-against-3 power play. J.F. Sauvé, power play specialist for the Nordiques. To Marois, to Peter Stastny out in front, centered. Anton Stastny scores! The Stastny brothers combining beautifully.
As they do so often. Just a beautiful move, and Penny just had no choice but to stick with Peter Stastny and ignore that wing, and Anton, the odd man advantage, was there off to the side. Look at the move, and then he just slided it, and a backhand shot by Anton Stastny, and it's 1-0 Quebec.
And the Nordiques continue to score the first goal in each playoff game they've been involved in this year. And that's a very important aspect of this game, the first goal.
Well, if you take a look at the overall statistics, you see the team that scores the first goal wins about 75% of the games. To say it isn't quite the case in playoffs, but and certainly between these two teams it doesn't always seem to be the case, but it certainly is a very important goal because it takes 2 to get by you then.
Anton Stastny gets the goal from Peter Stastny and Marois. 3:23 the time. A power play goal it was, because the Nordiques had a 4-against-3 advantage. Now each team a man short, and we have 23 seconds left in the Montreal penalty, and then 1:12 left in the Quebec penalty. Each team a man short now as Rochefort, number 5, controls for Quebec. Over to Moeller. Was a great chance earlier and was spoiled. Now Rochefort. Cleared it in and hit the linesman. And now taken by Montreal, and Bobby Smith, number 15, comes back. Up too high off the glass with that long shot. Norm Rochefort over to Randy Moeller, and he just cleared at the center. Ludwig knocks it down. Now Gillis clearing it near the Montreal line, and that's Naslund for the Canadians to Bobby Smith. Into Naslund, leaving it for Smith. Shot behind the goal. Here's Tremblay into the corner as he's out of the penalty box, in Montreal on a brief power play. Naslund. Shoots, he scores!
Whoa!
A bullet that had eyes.
Right along the ice, Dan. And Mats Naslund continues to carry the offense for the Montreal Canadiens. Look at it, trip right along the ice and into the far corner. Those are the toughest ones to handle, mainly because they're usually deflectable shots. And this one, he may have been screened. Now, that's Rochefort, number 5, out in front, and Moeller. But no, there was no screen. It was just along the ice and to the stick side of Mario Gosselin. A 1-1 tie.
Mats Naslund's 6th goal of the playoffs. And we're tied at 1-1 here in the first period. Each team with a power play goal.
Special teams were so important in the game in Montreal on Thursday. There were a total of 5 power play goals in that one, and here they are now dividing power play goals to start the game again.
Naslund gets the goal. Tremblay and Bobby Smith the assist. 4:19 the time. A power play goal. Now it's 1-1, and right from the faceoff, the puck flips up over the boards right near the Montreal bench. And so much for that first goal being such a big edge.
Well, the Adams division, they always like to say that the special teams are the key. You know, if you can play them even and then take advantage of your power play advantages. But part of the special teams is penalty killing. And the penalty killers have not covered themselves in glory in the last couple of games in this series.
Face-off coming up. And it's Craig Ludwig controlling it for Montreal. Flips a long one in. Gosselin handling that and was going to toss it aside, then decided to hold it. And we'll get a face-off near the native of Bedford Mines, Quebec, Mario Gosselin.
All 153 pounds of him. A young fellow who I think caught the fancy of Canadians in the Olympics at Sarajevo last year when he became the starting goaltender for our Olympic team and performed so very, very well. One thing you have in common, besides the fact that the two of them are Quebecois, the two goaltenders have nerves of steel. They do not feel pressure at all. Gosselin proved that in the Olympics last year, and Penny has proved it through 2 Stanley Cup playoffs.
Here's the Montreal line of Walter McPhee and Mark Hunter against the Stastny brothers and Elaine Cote for Quebec. Rice to number 19, Cote. His shot blocked by Green at the Montreal defense. Cleared back to center. Price has it there to Anton Stastny. And he's checked by Hunter from behind. Now Hunter for Montreal. Trying to get it to Carbonneau. Couldn't. Gainey picks it up. He rifles one. It goes up high over the glass. From Quebec City, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV. Montreal. Hunter, Mann, and Goulet for Quebec against Carbonneau, Gainey, and Chris Nyland for the Canadians. This face-off at the outer edge of the face-off circle to the right of the Quebec goal. And on the face-off, Hunter for Quebec getting it to Goulet. To number 10, Jimmy Mann, who dumps it in, and Robinson chases back. Forechecked on the play by Hunter. Now Robinson feeds Carbonneau. He's checked. Here's Mann. Shooting deflected. Saved by Penny, and then Hunter gets tangled up by Carbonneau and Kerbers as he collided with Penny on the save.
Well, the stick went up on the part of Hunter and caught Penny right around the face mask area. I don't know whether it was helped up there or not. We'll take a look at it. A deflected shot, and it was a dangerous one as it deflected right in towards Penny. You just see the end of it there. Now watch Hunter's stick as he gets tied up, and it may have been brought up there by Kerbers, who is cutting in front to try and protect his goaltender. Nothing further happened on it. Presence of Jimmy Mann out there is interesting. Mann is, of course, a tough guy, the Chris Nyland of this Nordique hockey team.
And, of course, Dale Hunter.
Well, Hunter's a different kind of a hockey player, Dan. He's a very feisty kind of a guy. Little guy, has to protect himself a bit.
He's ready for a face-off. Now heads over north toward the Quebec bench. It's going to be Hunter, Goulet, and Mann for this face-off, and Carbonneau will stay out there to take the draw for Montreal.
Got the Hunter brothers out there now, Dan. Mark for the Canadians, number 20.
Mark, they say when he's on the ice against Dale, things simmer down on Dale's part. Do you find that, Ron?
Yes, I have found that.
Puck cleared in by Montreal. Maxwell back to get it, and here's Goulet having a great playoff for Quebec to Mann. Broken up at center. Ludwig firing it back in. Love save by Gosselin, and it is Bell controlling it for Quebec. Number 6, Bell to Dale Hunter. Trying to feed it through to Goulet. Michel Goulet with a rising wrist shot. Rebound to Maxwell. Penny stopped that too. 2 tough saves there by Steve Penny.
Well, Steve Penny has come under a bit of fire. They say that you can shoot high on him and score on him, but he has reactions, and there's a high shot. He got himself in front of it and then covered the rebound. They say also that he goes down too much. Didn't go down there at all and handled the rebound very, very well. Dangerous, and Penny has been sharp early in this game. The shots on goal fairly close at 5-4 in favor of the Nordiques at this point.
My book on Steve Penny is he stops the puck.
Yeah, exactly. He wins.
Makes the puck hit him, Al, is Jacques Plante, and it's successful this season as well as last year in the playoffs for Montreal. Faceoff is going to be just outside the Canadian line. Mondeau out there with Naslund and Tremblay. Now Quebec with Gillis, Ashton, and Will Fama.
We're going to see a lot of this, Dan, the juggling. Now let's see 2 changes on the defense late. Maxwell comes off, and they move Marois out there.
Ready on the face-off, won by Montreal, but hit with a high stick. And now we're going to get penalties on the play. Each team will get a penalty.
I missed that. There's a slash goes out to Gillis, and I guess also to, well, we'll see.
I think it's Mondeau.
Yeah, the sticks got up on the face-off, but they were going for the puck at that particular instance. So Mondeau batted it into his own zone. The high stick infraction was legitimate. Let's take a look at it again. Puck bounced up, bunted it, slapped it back. Now watch at the end of it. Huh? Didn't see anything there that was really untoward, but Myers is calling it a little close to the vest right now. Slashing is the call.
So Mondeau and Gillis to the penalty box. Slashing penalties, 5:54 here in the first period. A little more skating room now with each team a man short. And number 17, Craig Ludwig, feeding it over to Chelios. Now to Develois and Naslund. Naslund checked on the play by Goulet. And Peter Stastny, number 26 for Quebec. Getting it ahead to Rochefort with a rising shot, caught by Penny. You mentioned, Ron, earlier that there's been talk that Penny may be vulnerable up high. It sure seems the Nordiques are trying to shoot high.
Well, this is his 21st playoff game. He joined the Canadians near the end of last season and then played all the way through the playoffs. In 20 playoff games to date, he has 4 shutouts. So he's had a pretty good record for a guy who's supposedly vulnerable to the high shot, especially to the glove side. They're aiming that way. But we saw the first 2 goals that went in against them in Montreal on Thursday night, and they were high shots. But I don't know. I still think he's a pretty good goaltender.
Ditto. Here's Green to Carbonneau as the Canadians try and move it out. Now number 9, Brent Ashton, back to Marois. He circles, checked on the play. Gainey couldn't center it, and Ashton has it for Quebec. Ashton, Dale Hunter off his skate, and Green gets it for Montreal around to Gainey. Held in by Marois, his shot blocked. Now Gainey getting it again. Dropping it to Green. Each team a man short, a minute left in the penalties. Robinson couldn't control a pass. Moeller gives it to Peter Stastny. Quick pass to Goulet, just offside at the Montreal blue line.
Well, Goulet, take a look at the stars, the good goal scorers of the National Hockey League. There's Wayne Gretzky, of course, who lives in his own world. And then there are 2 down in what we call the normal NHL. One of them is Mike Bossy, and the other is Michel Goulet. Goulet and Bossy in the last 3 years are 1 goal apart in total goals scored. So this guy missed 12 games this year, played a month with a cast on his wrist, still managed over 50 goals for the 3rd straight year.
And has 8 in the playoffs, which tops all scorers, and is having a great playoff so far. Penalty coming up against Quebec as Chelios on the delayed call drops it to Ludwig. Now to Chris Chelios. They head to Naslund. Naslund drops to Ludwig, intercepted by Peter Stastny. Now the delayed penalty to Quebec. From Quebec City, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV.
Unbeatable at Beauvais is their way with fashion today.
Beauvais and Arrow have a remarkable range of shirts, whatever the size of your collar or the length of your sleeve. Beauvais and Arrow have your measure.
Fashion sense at Beauvais is ready to wear, styled with flair. Beauvais.
Fashion sense unbeatable.
So Randy Moeller goes off for hooking at 7:24. Here it is. Chelios breaking out, and he just hooks and hauled down as he tried to get loose. That's Chelios. That was Gainey coming out of the zone. So Randy Moeller at 7:24 is off, and lots of room out there, Dan. Now 4 skaters to 3.
The more dangerous kind of power play is this situation, and Montreal has the advantage. DeBlois winning the faceoff. Airwalk trying to clear it, held in by DeBlois. Over to Chelios. Now to Robinson. Into DeBlois. Over to the other side to Naslund. Broken up by Marois behind the net and cleared. And a big play there by Marois as he anticipated, intercepted and cleared it. Here's Robinson to Chelios. Chelios tries a pass. Dale Hunter intercepts and cleared it away. And now the first 2 penalized players, Gillis and Mondeau, are back on. The only man still off with 1:20 to serve in his penalty is the Quebec player Moeller. This is Ashton. Now to Pat Price, who clears it down the ice, and the Canadians have to retreat. This is Chelios. Number 24, Chris Chelios, to number 19, Larry Robinson, who fires it in. Gosselin cleared. Knocked along the boards by Maxwell and cleared by Gillis to Ashton. Ashton with only Chelios back, and Chelios played him perfectly, playing the man and leaving the puck alone. Now Robinson beating it ahead onto the wing. Here's the Canadians attack. Boisvert centered. They score! Bobby Smith set up by Boisvert. And a power play goal by Montreal gives them a 2-1 lead.
What an immense surprise Boisvert has been. Now he's number 12, and he sets up Bobby Smith right in front of the net. Just a great play, and young Boisvert comes up from Sherbrooke of the American Hockey League. 2 teams have just unloaded him, as not liking his services at all, and here he is with his 7th point, and Bobby Smith picks up his 4th goal of the playoffs, and the Canadians go in front.
Boisvert previously played with Toronto, was involved in a trade to Edmonton at one time, belonged to them, although didn't play. But in the games he's been up from Sherbrooke, he's played a very prominent role at times for Montreal. So it is a power play goal. All 3 goals in the game have been on the power play. And it's 2-1 for Montreal. Here's Green to Mario Tremblay. Price rides him out. And Moeller goes back to get it for Quebec, number 21. Beating one up the middle to Price. Price ahead to Goulet. Goulet trying to go through the defense, did, but Kerbers got him from behind and knocked it away. Now it's Carbonneau shooting it near the Quebec line. Moeller knocked it down to Goulet, to Anton Stastny. Over to Peter Stastny. He drops it back to Moeller with a shot just wide. Chris Nyland couldn't get to it. Price held it in. Now the Canadians start back with Green. Beating Kerbers. Tom Kerbers trying to break through. Knocked away by Gosselin. And now Peter Stastny for Quebec. Guy Carbonneau cleared it for Montreal. Rossbourg back for the Nordiques. Just over 10 minutes left in the first period. It's 2-1. Montreal lead. Rossbourg. A Lets the shot go. Hit Ludwig. Bounces to Marois. His shot blocked, and here's Smith, who got that last Montreal goal to Chelios. Fires it in. Marois back for Quebec. He's checked in the play by Boisvert, but Rossbourg was there to clear it away, and a delayed penalty coming up here for cross-checking against Montreal. Meanwhile, that last Montreal scoring play, Bobby Smith, the goal scorer, is fourth of the playoffs. Boisvert and Robinson, the assists, 8:51 the time. A power play goal that gives Montreal the lead at 2-1. But right now, Quebec with a chance with the man advantage. J.F. Sauvé and Maxwell are the point men. And Maxwell starts out. Checked by Carbonneau. He gives it to Gainey. Bob Gainey shoots at the side of the net. And another penalty coming up here against Quebec. It's Brad Maxwell who will go this time. And there goes the Quebec power play edge with the penalty to Maxwell.
Well, Maxwell goes, and that's the kind of penalty the Canadians, those two forecheckers the Canadians use, at least to start most of their penalty-killing situations, Gainey and Carbonneau. When they get to buzzing around, especially the sweep-checking ability that Carbonneau has, as the shot is deflected in there, the cross-check comes, and Maxwell goes. And so no more penalty, no more power play for the Nordiques.
By sticking the call, 10:42 as you see the time. And each team a man short. 2-1 the score. Faceoff is going to be inside the Quebec blue line. Peter Stastny out there with Goulet for Quebec. Marois and Rochefort on defense. It'll be Carbonneau and Naslund for Montreal. Chelios and Ludwig on defense. A little 4-on-4 here. This is Rochefort. To Marois. To Peter Stastny. Dumping one in. Ludwig back to get it. He's taken out. Carbonneau has to come back and help out. Drops it to Chelios. Forecheck by Peter Stastny. Now Chelios recovers. Couldn't clear it. Now finally does get it to Carbonneau, who gives it to Gainey. But Rossbourg was there for Quebec. Here's Marois. To Norm Rochefort. Trying to clear it. Chelios held it in. Centered. Carbonneau in the slot. Couldn't get a shot out. Centered to Gainey, and Marois there with perfect timing to intercept it. Marois to Peter Stastny. Now to Goulet. Goulet shot blocked by Ludwig, the only man back, and Carbonneau feeds to Naslund. Now into Deblois, shooting, and a save on the short side there by Gosselin. Back comes Bowler. Over onto the wing to Hunter. That's broken up, and Robinson cleared it. Here's Will Paymock coming up with it. Couldn't center it, and now back from Montreal. Deblois into Robinson. Couldn't get his shot through the defense. Teams each a man short. Naslund centered. Big save as Deblois was robbed by Gosselin, and Deblois is down on the ice and injured. Play going right on, and now it's whistled down, and Deblois down and injured for Montreal.
He went into the boards. He was pinching in. He was flying in, as a matter of fact, and a great pass out after a good move by Naslund to set that up, and I think he hit the boards pretty heavily. And Gaetan Lefebvre, who is the trainer for the Canadians, is out on the ice very quickly. Let's take a look at it again, and look at the moves here as Naslund sets this one up now. As he makes the move, ducks the defense, he'll swing around. And here it is. All right, Naslund moving in now, and watch Deblois as he takes the shot. That's Paymock, I think, on him there, and he got the stick up on him, and that is what has happened. We're getting a good view of the Colisée ice from our overhead camera, located just under the clock, as you can see, at center ice. That's a remote-controlled camera.
He used it first a few weeks ago in Hartford and got some excellent up-high shots. Meanwhile, Deblois being assisted toward the Montreal bench. He played a great game in Game 2 of this series in Montreal.
Well, everybody's saying, you know, whatever happened to... Let's take a look at this again now. We'll get an idea of what happened to Deblois. There's the shot, and up comes the stick, and that was Paymock as he just tried to lift his stick as he was shooting the puck, and I think it just rode up on him.
No penalty on the play. Meanwhile, in the penalty situation, Rooney has not 8 seconds left in his. Brad Maxwell for Quebec, 30 seconds left in his.
Just to continue the thought on DeBlois, he didn't have a good year, but it was one of those years where you get an injury, you get back, you get another injury, and it never really got started. He's now starting to play very, very well. Very useful kind of a hockey player to have. You can play him at almost every position on the ice. He'll kill penalties for you, go on the power play.
Here's Robinson for Montreal to number 5, Green. Back to Robinson. Now Rooney is back on for the Canadians. It's work to Smith. And Bobby Smith, number 15, who has scored one of the Montreal goals, flipping it in. Oswald leaving it there. Marois cleared it. Gillis on the boards. Couldn't get by Naslund. Here's Smith. Back to the point to Kerbers. Return to Smith, but Gillis in. Cleared it away for Quebec. Paul Gillis shooting it in. Here's Tama. Drops it to Gillis. He's bumped by Boisvert. Puck comes to Marois. Held in and just knocked away by Kerbers. Into the corner, Smith gets to Naslund. His pass ahead at center ice, picked up by Boisvert. Boisvert dropping it, and Cote was there to tip it for Quebec. Here's Naslund. His shot off Cote and up into the crowd. From Quebec City, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV.
When the night was thick with the snore of sleep, Jimmy Jet's dream made a giant leap to a toy Esso station that came to life with a Jeep and the dog and his shiny red bike. Then crash rolled the boy who went with his Teddy to find all the people, but found only Eddie playing near his favorite toy. So he went back to bed and the dreams of a boy. Give your boy or girl something to dream about, too. The Playmobil Esso station for $19.95, and the 6 purchases from Esso, you can save $60.
Well, Mario Gosselin watching. He's come up with a very, very big save on DeBlois. That's set up by Naslund. And there you see the score. Canadians leading at 2-1. They were down 1-0 in this game. Naslund and Smith bringing them back after the Anton Stastny goal.
Right now, the team's back at full strength, seemingly for one of the few times in what hasn't been that rough a game to this point, but we've had several penalties. Puck shot in by Quebec. Anton Stastny. The Sauvé wiped out in the corner by Carbonneau. Chelios has it for Montreal. Number 24, Chris Chelios. Hit a helmet with that pass at Sauvé's helmet. Sauvé gets the puck. Back to Bell at the point. That shot went wide. Anton Stastny to Peter Stastny. Unable to center. Chelios breaks it up. Deganey couldn't get it out. Here's Sauvé. Holding it in. Couldn't get a shot off. And the Canadians start back. Carbonneau moving in, but the play is offside at the Quebec blue line.
Jean-Francois Sauvé. His brother, of course, plays with Buffalo. Bob Sauvé, the goaltender. Got a lot of brother action this hockey game, including Stastny, the most noted of the group. The 2 Hunter brothers are in this game. We've got Alain Lemieux. His brother Mario is probably going to be the Rookie of the Year in the National Hockey League this year. Moeller has a brother, the Buffalo organization.
At 5'6", J.F. Sauvé, or Jean-Francois as his Christian name or given name, the smallest player in the league.
5 feet 6 inches. That's
quite a story.
Oh. But it tells you something. You know, you cast away small players without giving them a chance. I think the Boisvert story may match that one. See what happens.
Henry Richard wasn't too large either, was it?
Or Yvan Cournoyer.
Here's a puck shot in by Montreal. Shots are 7 apiece here in the first period. Marois and Tremblay fight for it. Puck taken. And as Hunter gets it, play is called, and we get some sticks up as Hunter and Mario Tremblay almost get into it. Wouldn't take much to get those two involved. From Quebec City, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV. With McPhee and Hunter out there for Montreal, the Stastny brothers, and Goulet for Quebec. Here's Goulet shooting it in. Anton Stastny taken out by Robinson. Gainey cleared it. Marois wide by 2 or 3 feet with a shot. Robinson and Anton Stastny fight for it. Puck comes in front to Marois. Over to Rochefort. A shot. Penny the save. Rebound. Goulet scores!
There it is. All kinds of rebounds around. The defense never got a handle on it. And you don't leave Michel Goulet sitting around with that kind of a situation. He's going to score every time. There's Anton breaking in. He was taken out of the play. Peter trailing on the play, and he made his check. He completed his check up against the boards on Gainey. And here it comes as the puck bounces out from behind the net. Robinson trying to control it. It flipped over to Peter, Anton, Marois, everybody. Rochefort got a shot. Rebound again. Boy, a long replay, and there it is as we get Goulet on the rebound.
Michel Goulet's 9th goal to the playoffs. He leads the league in playoff scoring, and it's tied at 2. Here's number 19, Alain Cote for Quebec. The number 32, Dale Hunter. He's out there with Kumpel and Cote. It's shot in. Penny back of the net. Third one, Moeller held it in. Into Cote. Got around in the boards. Kumpel and Tremblay fight for it. Now Chelios beating one to Mondeau, who drops it back. Ludwig picks it up into Naslund. Centered. Nobody there, or Mondeau was there, couldn't get it. Chelios a drive. And an excellent glove save by Gosselin. That last scoring play, Goulet from Peter Stastny and Rochefort at 14:44 to tie it at 2.
Well, there's Chris Chelios. People had some doubts that Chelios was going to be able to play in this series after he suffered a strained knee in the Boston series. But he's got the very, very good shot, the good save there by Gosselin. The book on Gosselin is, if you talk about the weaknesses, I guess everybody's got to answer one weakness with another. Shoot to the stick side on Gosselin, and you find his weakness. All right. Meanwhile, he's been playing pretty good goal, too, so much for the weaknesses. I think the media has as much of a warfare going on, especially the newspapers back and forth here, as the teams do.
Bobby Smith, Steve Rooney, and Boisvert, the Montreal forward line. Go back with Peter Stastny, Anton Stastny, and Sauvé. Here's Brad Maxwell to Peter Stastny. Couldn't quite control it. Penny cleared it. Sauvé in to get it. To Peter Stastny. Centered. Boisvert intercepting and clears to Gainey. Montreal captain Gainey just dumps it in. Rochefort right in front of his own goal. Cleared it off the boards perfectly for Sauvé. Dumped in, and Penny sets it up for Tom Kerbers, number 18. Now to Robinson. Head to Carbonneau as the Canadians attack. Now to Gainey. Gainey shooting, and Gosselin just got a piece of it on the short side, and then Quebec clear up the center. Kerbers back to get it. The Canadians, of course, tonight playing without Peter Svoboda, their fine rookie defenseman. Here's Rooney with a shot wide by a couple of feet. Buck Gillis couldn't get it. Here's Smith flipping it in. Paiement intercepting as Quebec come back. This is Ashton. Will Paiement charging in. Rooney ties him up. Now Ashton back of the goal. Kerbers trying to pin him there. Ashton kicking it loose. To Paul Gillis, to Marois. That shot deflects wide. Penalty coming up to Montreal. Or is it to Quebec? Because as soon as Quebec got the puck, the play is whistled down. I think it's Will Paiement that's going to go. And an interference call it will be. Paiement didn't think it was he either.
Well, as you said, Dan, this has not been a period filled with outbreaks at all, but Myers is just not letting anybody get away with anything, and perhaps he's right. You just don't know when a game like this can break open, but Paiement is going off. Time of the penalty will be 16:54.
That's the 10th penalty of this period. And we still have 3:06 to play. Paiement, an interference call, 16:54 the time.
Well, the Canadians are using Mondeau out there on their power play, trying to get him back into game shape. He hasn't played since the final weekend of the season with that eye injury. Now they're going to switch their wingers. They do that once in a while. Naslund over to the right side and Tremblay to the left.
3 of the 4 goals in this game have been on the power play, and Quebec right now with the man advantage. Chelios controlling it for the Canadians. I think I said Quebec with the man advantage. It's Montreal as Herbers carries to center, dumping it in. At Price back for Quebec. Mondeau intercepting that. Pierre Mondeau carries in front, drops to Chelios. A drive. That hit Cote, deflected wide. Chelios again. To Tremblay. Back to Chelios, in behind the net to Mondeau. Into the other corner to Naslund, but it was intercepted by Marois, and then Hunter is able to get it outside the zone. Cote and Tremblay got their sticks up. And the hitting is getting tougher as this period goes along. Buck shot to center by Marois. Chelios for the Canadians. Rink wide to Robinson. A minute left in the Payma penalty for Quebec. Robinson trying to get away from Gillis. Has to drop it back, and Chelios chases back to pick it up. Chris Chelios to Smith. Gillis knocked it away. Now Naslund gets it into the zone, but Marois cleared it quickly for Quebec. Here's Robinson. Now to Chelios as the Canadians try and penetrate on this power play, but Marois broke it up again.
Very aggressive in the center ice zone. The Nordiques just not allowing the Canadians to even get a step. The best place to play. You have to penalty kill in the center ice area.
Here's Smith weaving his way through center ice. Got it in. Moeller knocked it down, and Dale Hunter cleared it away. And an excellent penalty killing job. Just 10 seconds left in Payma's penalty. Excellent penalty killing by the Nordiques. Here's Robinson. Now feeding one as Green tried to clear it in. Knocked down by Pat Price. Penalized player Payma back on. We're in the final minute of the first period. Quebec 2, Montreal 2. Here's Ryan Walter. Into McPhee, but offside. Goes to play at the Quebec blue line.
Well, Ryan Walter tried to get it off to the wing. McPhee beat him in to the zone. No shots at all for the Canadians on the power play. Ryan Walter, a star with the Seattle Breakers of the Western Canada Junior Hockey League, as they called it in those days. Went to Washington. And then on to the Canadians as part of the Rod Langway trade. Canadians were looking for a left winger at the time. I don't think Ryan has seen much left wing this year. He's played a lot of very good center ice, very steady, hard checking center ice for the Canadians this year.
Shots on goal favoring the Nordiques 10-8 at this point. We're tied 2-2. 43 seconds left in the first period. Moeller gives it to Anton Stastny. He's checked in Gainey for Montreal, then cleared to center to Nyland. He couldn't get it as Moeller took him out, and Norm Rochefort back to clear it. Anton Stastny failed to clear it, but then Rochefort followed up and did clear it to center. And it's taken by Green for Montreal. Number 5, Rick Green. To Gainey. Trying to get it to Nyland. Moeller intercepts, and back comes Goulet to Anton Stastny. Shoots wide by a couple of feet. 10 seconds left in the period. Quebec holding it in. Ludwig knocking it down. Now Peter Stastny tries to center, hit the back of the net, and there's the buzzer to end the first period here at Le Coliseum in Quebec City. It's tied 2-2. Shots on goal favoring the Nordiques in the first period by a margin of 10-8. From Quebec City, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV.
In the Stanley Cup playoffs. Much has been made of this big rivalry between Montreal and Quebec City, and it's ironic that with the Canadians, their American content is 5 players strong, including Chris Nyland. And Chris, you tell us that it did not take very long for a guy to come out of the U.S., plop himself in Montreal, and pick up the feeling, the tension, the rivalry.
Well, right away, I think, like during the regular season, even the games between these two teams, not just in the playoffs, the intensity level is so high, and the players seem to be ready for all the games, no matter what. And I think there's a lot of dislike involved at the same time. And it doesn't take long. You take a guy like Steve Rooney playing his first NHL game near the end of the season here, and it didn't take him too long to become involved and know what it takes to play against this team especially.
What was your very first experience with this rivalry?
Well, me knowing the team, they're a fast skating team, a physical team. It's just all the media hype and everything. It gets you ready and it kind of prepares you for the game. You know, there's a lot of talk in the papers. They make a lot of stories about just little things come up, you know, like us not getting the ice yesterday here, and is that going to make your team any more intense? Is it going to make them mad? But my experiences with this team, I can't remember the first one actually, but there's been so many. But I just know that I was ready to play when it came time to play this club.
You've lost one of your better defensemen, Peter Svoboda, out with injury. This is a checking team, a defensive-oriented team. That's going to hurt you.
Well, yeah, it's going to hurt, but I think we have the players who can compensate for the loss. We're going to have to. Peter has been our steadiest defenseman. I think he's so cool with the puck. He moves the puck well. People say his size is a problem. He's an intense player. He plays physical for his size, and we're going to miss him. But we have the players that can compensate, and you know, I'm sure everybody will pick up even that much more with Peter out of the lineup.
Thank you much, sir. Chris Nyland of the Montreal Canadiens. This is Carling O'Keefe Sports, the NHL Stanley Cup Playoffs on CTV. Right up in Quebec City. Talking during that first period with John Garrett, our analyst tonight. John was saying how the Canadians want to slow down the tempo and quieten the crowd, and they were successful for a good portion, certainly the middle portion of that period.
I think they were very successful. I'm sure Steve Penny was told before the game to hang on to everything. Montreal has good face-off men. They've been winning most of the draws, so why not? And during the playoffs, they definitely won't call a delay of game penalty on the goalie. I think Michel Goulet's goal brought the crowd back and gave them a lift, and now they're rolling again.
Well, you certainly can't allow the Nordiques to freewheel in your zone.
Here you see Peter Stastny come out of the corner, and Craig Ludwig leaves his feet, which you're not supposed to do. But against the Stastnys, you just kind of have to spread out, and Antone's right there to put it in the empty net. That was a no-chancer for Steve Penny. Here's another power play goal. The power play has to be the key for the Canadians. They don't have that star quality without Guy Lafleur, and they need their power play with Bobby Smith and Naslund scoring. Here Naslund takes a slap shot right through Normand Rochefort's legs, and there's Mario Gosselin looking at Norm, but there's not much either one of them could have done. Here's a play where Boisvert, who was picked up from nobody almost, makes a great play to Bobby Smith. Another power play goal, and I think Bobby Smith is going to have to be a key here for the Canadians if they want to win this series. The last goal, the Canadians, who are usually very good in their defensive zone, get messed up in their coverage. You see Ryan Walter halfway out to the point. Bob Gainey is standing in the slot, and there's three Nordiques inside. I think Ryan Walter came out of the corner with Goulet and didn't quite stay with him, and he tried to do Gainey's job going to the point.
Well, the Battle of Quebec is tied at 1 game apiece, and after 20 minutes, it is still tied. Here in Quebec City, 2-2. This is Carling O'Keefe Sports, the Stanley Cup Playoffs on CTV.
Okay, Dan, both teams back on the ice for second period action. There you see the scoring summary. Anton Stastny giving Quebec a lead at 146. Mats Naslund tying it at 419. Bobby Smith giving the Canadians the lead at 851. Those three first goals all on power plays. And then Michel Goulet at 14:44 to tie the game for Quebec. Shots on goal in the period favored the Quebec Nordiques by a margin of 10-8.
Dan, just to update the injury report for the Canadians and the Nordiques. First of all, the Nordiques are healthy. Marion Stastny is not playing, and Blake Wesley, an extra defenseman tonight, not playing, along with Daniel Bouchard, who's the third goaltender for the Nordiques. For the Canadians, the big problem is Petr Svoboda, the fine young defenseman who Jacques Lemaire called his best defenseman in the playoffs and steadiest defenseman, has a cast on his knee. He has a knee strain, much similar to the one that Chris Chelios suffered in the Boston series. Chelios came back after missing just one game. They're hoping that the same story will hold for Petr Svoboda. The extra men for the Canadians, Alfie Turcotte and Ron Flockhart, who are watching the game from up on our broadcast level here. So we're set to go. Second period. The Canadians outplayed in the final 5 minutes of the first period. Very, very excellent checking pattern set up by the Nordic. And they had the Canadians hemmed back in their own zone through the final portion of the period. Canadians will try and solve that period and get started here in the second.
Here we go with second period action. The team's at full strength. Ludwig dropping it, or getting it out to McPhee, who drops it to Chelios. Now Carbonell steals the puck in center ice and dumps it in. And number 21, Moeller, is back for Quebec. Moeller with a pass to Dale Hunter. Checked at center, and McPhee takes over for Montreal. McPhee checked in the play. Dale Hunter for Quebec. Drops it to Price, now to Moeller. To Hunter at center. Over to Mark Kumpel, number 17. His shot hit Ludwig. Kumpel pokes it in deeper, and Chelios goes back for the Canadiens. Passing one up the middle to Walter, now to Mark Hunter. Breaks around Rochefort, trying to center is Mark Hunter. Drops to Chelios. He fired it behind the goal. Marois there to clear it. Ludwig held it in, and Kumpel cleared it for Quebec. Chelios wins the race to the puck. Both teams starting off in a very close checking pattern of hockey. Here's Gillis to Goulet. That shot turned aside by Penny on a stick save. Comes to the point. Marois into the corner to Gillis. Now Goulet centered one. And the Canadiens come back. McPhee feeding Boisvert, who drops it back to McPhee. Taken out by Rochefort into the corner. Boisvert dropped it back to the goal, but Rochefort intercepts and feeds Paymock. Paymock gets it by Robinson. Paymock trying to feed Brent Ashton. He's bumped off the puck by Rooney and the Nordiques. Rochefort flipping it in, and Robinson going back to get it. Here's Smith for Montreal. Smith lets the shot go. It hit Maxwell. Rooney in the corner, trying to center. Now does come in front. That shot blocked at the defense. And the Nordiques, Ashton clears to Bell, who poked it to center ice. Paymock checked by Smith. Now Quebec intercepting one. Gillis can't get anywhere. Here's Boisvert flipping it in. Maxwell knocking it down. Fires it off the boards to Gillis. Now at center ice, Ashton shooting it in. This will be icing against Quebec. In the early minutes of the second period, very close checking. From Quebec City, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV.
When I travel, I always go first class. Nothing but the best for me. And now that I am introducing Miller Lite, I'll be on the road even more. Light is brewed here, it tastes great, and it tastes less filling, which is important because us jet setter always like to travel light. I'll probably have one at the end of my next voyage.
Come on, Mac, the bus is leaving.
Light beer from Miller, now brewed in Canada. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Well, you won't find any more rabid fans than those here in Quebec City at the Colisée, and you won't find a more intense coach than that fellow right there, Michel Bergeron of Le Nordique.
Face-off coming up deep in the Quebec zone. The Nordiques win the draw, and it's controlled by Moeller. Clearing to center ice to Anton Stastny, trying to break through. Chelios there defensively for Montreal. Chelios to Carbonell. Now to Gainey. Gainey against Moeller, centered by the score! Carbonell! Deflecting in Gainey's goal mouth pass. And the Canadiens take the lead again.
Well, a great play by Gainey, but the key to the play was way back in the other end. Alain Côté's not in the play because he lost his stick in the corner. Now here's Gainey going in. He'll beat the defenseman Moeller and then out in front. And there's the check for Côté, at least one of the people that would have helped. The zone, in fact, was flooded by the Canadiens as they broke out quickly. And what a goal. Very nicely done.
E. Carbonell giving Montreal the lead at 3-2. His second of the playoffs. That's why Ron, as you look at the replay, seemed to try and play the puck with his stick, and that seemed to get him in a little bit of difficulty.
Just kind of have to wait for that one. There's not much you can do when the guy's standing there and he's got you cold.
Carbonell from Gainey and Chelios, the scoring play. 2:50 the time. Here's Moeller dumping it in for Quebec. Larry Robinson back to get it for the Canadiens. Perfect pass to Walter. His pass to Mark Hunter was behind him. Goes the length of the ice. Pat Price back to touch the puck, and as he does, icing is the call. Pat Price back in the lineup for the Nordiques after being bothered by a tender ankle.
I guess one of the few people who can say he was a Vancouver Blazer at one point. He played with that WHA team. He came to the National Hockey League. He was originally drafted by the Islanders very high. He's a very, very intense kind of a player, a real competitor, the kind of guy you like to have on this team, and he's supplied a lot of experience on the defense for this team for young fellows like Bruce Bell and Moeller. And he's just one of those guys you like to have because he acts as almost a coach on the ice for you.
Face-off deep in the Montreal zone. The Stastny brothers and Goulet, the forward line for Quebec. Peter Stastny and Ryan Walter on the face-off. Won by Quebec. Anton Stastny in front. Goulet couldn't handle it. Marois' shot blocked at the Montreal defense, and number 20, Mark Hunter, giving it to Walter. Walter to McPhee. He drops it back to Kerbers. That shot off Rochefort's stick and over the glass into the crowd.
Well, Mark Hunter there, one of the three brothers from Petrolia, Ontario. The father is here to see the two sons play in this series. Drove back apparently to Petrolia to the farm, thought he'd get some planting in. Still not ready, the ground too wet, so he drove all the way back again. So here he is in Quebec City to watch Mark and Dale go at each other.
Face-off, Peter Stastny against Walter deep in the Quebec zone. 3-2, Montreal leading. Walter gets the draw, back to Ludwig. Stick save by Gosselin, and the shot that was from the left point by Ludwig.
Well, you love the low shot from the point. And looking at the statistics on that first period, it was the defensemen that were getting the shots. Ludwig had 2 shots in the first period, and Chelios had 2. Nobody else on the Canadians had more than 1. There you see it, and it was right on. They're looking for the deflection. That's why you like that low shot. Get the stick down in the ice and look to steer it, change the direction. Meanwhile, the defense had cleared out the alley so that Gosselin could see it all the way. He made the save without too much difficulty.
Face off again as now Mondeau is out there. For Montreal, Mondeau getting the draw. Ludwig again at the point. The shot blocked. Kumpel clears it. Here's Goulet with only Chelios back. Shot right on. Penny the save. Rebound. Hunter couldn't get it, and Mario Tremblay knocking it ahead. Naslund let the Quebec player play the puck, or it would have been called back because of a hand pass. Here's Osborne's long shot, and Penny the save, and he held it. From Quebec City, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV.
Do you think people know that I cut these tomatoes up fresh every morning?
They know.
That I dice these onions?
They know.
That I slice these dill pickles?
They know.
How can they know when they're not here?
Because at Harvey's we display our garnishes right in front of our customers. They can see the freshness.
You're right. They know. You know, that was very supportive.
Well, as I've so often said, we're in this together.
Harvey's makes your hamburger a beautiful thing.
Well, Jacques Lemaire, I suppose, a little happier. You'd never know by looking at him. The Canadians had the only goal of the period. Carbonneau's second goal of the playoffs from Gainey and Chelios, 3-2.
Here's Maxwell for Quebec. His shot blocked, and Kerbers in the corner trying to get it out of there. Carbonneau checked from behind by Hunter. Now Kumpel and Kerbers fight for it. Trying to freeze it there. Now Hunter and Carbonneau get into the act. Kumpel very persistent, trying to clear that puck with his skates. Kerbers knocks him down. And Kerbers feeds Gainey. Gainey in with Carbonneau and Nyland. Centers, Nyland open, missed it. Green shoots, glove save, Gosselin on a rocket by Green.
What a shot and what a save. Green moving in as the puck was coming out towards him. And again, this pair teams up. But this time, Gainey sent it through the deep slot. And Green just let it go in a screen. And he just came up with it off the ice. Gosselin with a good glove save again. He's a little bit like Sevigny. You don't shoot with the glove side of Richard Sevigny, and he just always makes the save on you. This time, this fellow seems to be the same way. He's got a great deal of confidence in his glove hand. And we're going to get a penalty here as Carbonneau is headed for the penalty box. Or is that Mondeau?
No, Carbonneau and Bell.
Bell, all right.
So each team penalized here, Guy Carbonneau of Montreal and the rookie defenseman Bruce Bell for Quebec.
High sticking. They give us only French announcements in this building, so you can quickly get bilingual here, Dan.
You are much better at that than I. Here's a face-off. DeBlois moving in against Peter Stastny, and the Nordiques win it. Here is Price. Each team a man short. Price for Quebec. Dropping it to Moeller. Now feeding one. Ludwig knocks it down, and Naslund knocked it away, but Anton Stastny has it for Pat Price. Pass to Anton Stastny. Naslund there to intercept to DeBlois. One-on-one against Price. Centered as Ludwig came up trailing on the play. The pass just out of his reach. Now Price to Peter Stastny. Naslund checks in. And now a slashing penalty coming up on the play from Quebec City, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV.
The simple screwdriver does not always lead the simple life. That's why Canadian Tire sells Mastercraft screwdrivers. And we're so sure Mastercraft brand screwdrivers are made to last, they're guaranteed forever. Just like all our Mastercraft tools. And nobody guarantees tools for longer than that.
Max, you gotta leave these tools alone. Max, you put a scratch in it.
Mastercraft tools from Canadian Tire. They're guaranteed forever.
Well, I heard the slash. I didn't see it. Well, I guess we'll get a chance to take a look at it here. Coming out of the zone, that's DeBlois. Is that the slash, or is it coming back here now? As Naslund did a good job stealing the puck coming out. Well, look at that one. But DeBlois just started it.
Penalty had already been called. Bob Myers had his hand in the air for the delayed penalty to DeBlois when Peter gave Mats Naslund a two-hander, and then they almost got into it and to be separated. Two-man short will be the Canadians, and the Nordiques just won. So a 4-against-3 opportunity again for the Nordiques.
One of the reasons, Dan, you see things happen on these 4-on-3, 4 skaters to 3 situations that teams don't often practice it. And so the defenses sometimes are down, and now you get people that can really skate, like the people that are out there right now for the Nordic, and you get yourself in trouble.
Goulet and Peter Stastny are up front. Sauvé and Marois, the point men. Peter Stastny and Gainey jamming up on the boards. And they try and get into it. Gainey and Peter Stastny.
What happens, of course, in this rivalry, Dan, is you see a lot of players are usually very, very disciplined players, and suddenly they find themselves getting into this. Like Gainey never really gets undisciplined style penalties, and Stastny has a bit of a temper, but he generally controls it. And off they go.
With that first period and 3 of the first 4 goals coming on the power play, you think it would temper that type of thing because it can really hurt you.
Well, they're going off 2 at a time here for the most part now, and at least the manpower situation doesn't change too drastically.
Face-off is going to be at the Montreal blue line. 2 coaches, Jacques Lemaire and now Michel Bergeron. What it's going to do is Peter Stastny's penalty will have to go on the clock. He gets 4 minutes in penalties, by the way, does Peter Stastny. And Gainey just gets the single minor. Gainey a roughing penalty. And Stastny high sticking and roughing.
Well, there you get then the... Well, there's more discussion over there. Myers is talking to Gainey and Carbonneau. Who's coming on? This is going to be fun now because we've got 3 in one box and 2 players in the other, but one of them is serving a double minor.
Meanwhile, the penalty to Gainey won't be able to start. It will have to be delayed because Carbonneau and DeBlois' penalties are already being served. Now the first penalty to Stastny will be served, and he's going to have a double minor penalty to sit out.
Well, we got a chance here to take a look at one of the other games being played. This one is in Winnipeg, and Paul McLean has scored against Grant Fuhr and the Edmonton Oilers. There it comes as he gets it and just fires it quickly by. That came at 1:26, his third goal of the year, and Winnipeg leads Edmonton 1-0. They're trying to get back in that series after a disastrous trip to Edmonton.
Marcel Lebeau, the president of the Nordiques, looking a little perplexed at this point, as each team will be 2 men short.
Looks like
all kinds of room out there.
Looks like the fingernails are taking a beating there.
Now, from the face-off, Naslund and Hunter get their sticks up, and they'll go. And we're going to need a larger penalty box here.
Well, this one I'm going to have to see. It appeared to me that Hunter went after Naslund, and I don't know whether Naslund retaliated or not. Myers is going to toss the two of them off. Now, for the Canadians, this hurts because they get a potent player. All right, upper left here. Let's take a look now. Up against the boards, they kind of drift out of sight. Naslund's tied up, and we don't see the rest of it. So Myers apparently had a good view of it. He was on the other side of the ice almost looking straight at them, and he just decided to run them both.
4 people from Montreal in the penalty box, 3 from Quebec.
High sticking the call.
Meanwhile, those penalties will have to be delayed because the teams were already 2 men short. We had 10 penalties in the first period, and it continues here in the second.
Well, we've got more action at the arena in Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets had taken a 1-0 lead, and the Edmonton Oilers have tied it up. Watch for number 7. What a Stanley Cup this guy is having. Paul Coffey, as he moves in deep and then depicts the far side on Hayward. A 1-1 tie in Winnipeg.
They've had 8 penalties here in the second period. Chelios breaks the rush up. Montreal coming back. Each team 2 men short. Chelios gets help from Bobby Smith. Smith knocked down, and Miroir feeds it over to Gillis. He takes a hit, but poked it by Ludwig, and Rochefort races after it for Quebec. Chelios poke checked in. Here's Gillis into the corner. Chelios trying to tie Paul Gillis up. Nobody's giving an inch.
Not a bit. Well, now they're going to get at it right in the corner there. Chelios, another fellow who doesn't really get involved in this sort of thing very much, and Gillis.
They're separated. And we'll remind you that from Quebec City, the Stanley Cup playoffs are on CTV.
And now, Newsbreak with Brian Britt.
Good evening. The new Quebec budget calls for nearly $500 million in new revenues by raising taxes on cigarettes and imposing new taxes on all insurance premiums. Personal exemptions will only take effect next year. Quebec will also sell its liquor corporation outlets at public auction. And a federal committee recommends legalizing prostitution in Canada. All the news at 11.
All right, Dan, you're a mathematician. You tell me what's going to happen when some of these start to end. That is a mess over there in that clock. And the one that's going to cause the trouble is the 3 minutes and 11 seconds remaining to Peter Stastny.
Our good friend Danny Gallivan taught me about 20 years ago, when those delayed penalties get involved in the game, just leave them alone. We'll leave them alone. Tell you right now that each team are 2 men short and will be for some time. Here are the Canadians. Poking it in. Price is there to get it. Number 7, Pat Price. In across the line for Goulet. Broken up by Robinson. Goulet again. He scores! Michel Goulet!
Deflected goal. It looked like it hit a stick in front. Watch the shot, and it was Ludwig that put his stick in front of it, changed direction just enough to elude Steve Penny. How much Penny could do. Goulet's got that tremendous shot anyway, and Michel Goulet has his 10th goal of the playoffs. What a tremendous playoff he's having. Here it comes. There's the deflection, and into the net it goes. Down to the glove side of Steve Penny.
His 10th goal in this is 8th playoff game, and we're not halfway through that.
And his second of the night. And we're in a 3-3 tie here. Goal coming at 6:39. Michel Goulet. 3 straight 50-goal seasons, and he just keeps going and going. And everybody said, not a very good playoff performer, Dan. How about that for a bad rap?
Here's the penalty situation. DeBlois has 36 seconds left in his. Gainey 1:59 left in his. For Quebec, Peter Stastny has 2:45 left in his double minor. Dale Hunter 1:59 left in his. And the Mats Naslund delayed penalty to Montreal has not started as yet. It's on the clock, but won't start until one of those previous two Quebec penalties end.
Gosselin picked up an assist on the goal by Goulet.
The scoring play, Goulet from Price and Gosselin, 6:39 the time. Goulet's second to this game is 10th of the playoffs. And it's tied 3-3. Mondeau being checked by Price. Now over to Robinson. Number 19, the veteran Robinson for Montreal to Craig Ludwig. To Mondeau. Trying to go around Price. Mondeau centered. Tipped away by Paul Gillis, and Robinson has to go back. Robinson on the attack. Shoots one. Gosselin the save. Wasn't sure where it was for a moment. And Price has it for Quebec. To Moeller, and Randy Moeller fires one in wide. Here's Gillis. Centering one, knocked away by Ludwig. Gillis again. Checked by Ludwig, and Robinson gets the puck. Robinson couldn't get around Goulet, and Marois, number 22, has it for Quebec. Each team still 2 men short. This is Goulet. Dropping it back into his own zone to Marois. Return to Goulet. Long shot. Penny the save. Herbers controls the rebound. Number 18, another of the Montreal American delegation, Tom Kerber. Flipping it in. Stolen by Carbonneau. Right in. Gosselin made the save as Carbonneau lost his stick on the play.
What a chance.
And Carbonneau was not able to do much with it. Marois firing it in. Ashton in to get it for Quebec. Chelios slammed him into the board. Chelios then clearing it. And Boisvert flips it to center ice with Maxwell back to get it. Each team still 2 men short. But Hunter will be back on momentarily, and then Quebec will have the man advantage. No, they won't, because Gainey comes on too. So now each team, well, let's see. No, they are 2 men short. I think there was a mix-up coming out of that penalty box. Well, now they switched to 1 man short. So each team a man short. The penalty clock was mixed up for the moment. Here's Price to Maxwell in the 3-3 game. To Will Payma. Chelios there for Montreal. Now to McPhee. He leaves it for Kerber. Now Walter to Chelios as he got it to center. Maxwell for Quebec to Price. Naslund is back on. And now a brief power play because Peter Stastny has 4 seconds left in his penalty. Shot in by Hunter. Peter Stastny back on. The penalty box. It's not quite empty. There's 1 man still in there, but the teams are at full strength. Here's Naslund. Moving in. Flipped it wide. Moeller for Quebec. Here's the lead pass to Goulet. Cutting right in. Oh, and Penny just got a piece of that. Walter back the other way for Montreal. To Robinson. Robinson shoots up too high. And Goulet has it for Quebec. To Peter Stastny. Poke checked away by Gainey. Here's Gainey on the attack for Montreal. Flipping one in. Gosselin leaves it to Gainey in to get it. Centered. Comes to Nyland in the slot. Gosselin got his blocker up to stop that. Anton Stastny. To Peter Stastny. He loses to Gainey. And around the Nordiques 2 or 3 times have coughed up the puck on their own end.
Well, they're being checked very intensely right now by the Canadians.
Here's Peter Stastny. Back to Marois. Shot blocked by Chelios. Center to Anton Stastny. Couldn't get a stick on it. Carbonneau takes him out of the play. And Chelios gets it to Gainey. Gainey over to Chelios. Shoots from a bad angle and hits the side of the net. And now Nyland and Price are into it. Back at center ice. Pat Price and Chris Nyland.
Well, Nyland just ducked under a bunch of punches that Price threw to start this. And he landed one pretty good one right on the chin of Price. There are 2 competitors out there. Nyland's been very quiet in this Stanley Cup until the game on Thursday night. Well, he's going to have a goal here. And that's the end of that. All right, they'll go off for 5 each, no doubt about that, from Quebec City, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV.
Everybody knows me. I'm the guy who did the Miller Lite commercials in the States. Now I am introducing Light here. Light tastes great, and it tastes less filling, and it's brewed right here. I find the only thing that I don't like about all this popularity is signing autographs.
Sir, may I borrow your pen?
Sure.
Thank you.
Hey, who is this guy?
Light beer from Miller, now brewed in Canada. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Well, both Price and Nyland off 5 minutes for fighting. The time of the penalties, 10:47. Boy, a long stretch there, almost 3 minutes without a whistle. Wearing out our play-by-play man here tonight.
Interestingly enough, Ron, these are the first major penalties of the game. We've had all kinds of penalties, but the first for fighting.
And the best scoring chance way back one was Carbonneau. Now, what happened here with the stick? He lost it just as he was letting it go. He's more surprised than anything. I think he still had the puck with him because it kind of hit him and bounced in front of him. But whether he was or not, Gosselin was there all the way. You know, Carbonneau carries one of the shortest sticks in the National Hockey League. Little wee thing. I think a 7 or 8-year-old kid would use something about that size. But he's also one of the best sweep checkers in the league. He uses it to great effect.
Face-off coming up in the Quebec zone. Coincidental majors, so the team's not shorthanded. Norm Rochefort from the face-off, controlling for Quebec. To Dale Hunter, now to Alain Cote. He dumps it in, and Kerbers goes back for Montreal. Kerbers feeding Max Naslund. Over to Tremblay. He's taken out by Rochefort. Back of the goal, the Canadians' Mondeau trying to center. Gets it to Naslund in the corner. Naslund closely checked. Now Tremblay in to get it for Montreal. Hits the side of the goal. Gosselin out of the net to clear it. And he feeds Cote a perfect pass, and Cote cleared it to the Montreal line. Kerbers to Dale, or shot at the center. Dale Hunter knocked it down. Kerbers gets it to Green, now to Tremblay. Leaving it for Naslund. Trying to center to Mondeau off his skate. Gosselin comes out, clears it, and then it's shot all the way down the ice by Cote. And it will be icing here against the Nordiques.
Well, we'll catch you up on what's going on elsewhere. Here it's a 3-3 tie. The Philadelphia Flyers have got in front of the Islanders 2-1. Crossman and Tocchet for Philadelphia. Kallur scoring that goal for the Islanders. In Minnesota, the North Stars. This is shocking a few people. Ciccarelli and Marouk with the goals, and they lead 2-0. And the other one, Edmonton and Winnipeg had one. Coffey with his 6th goal of the playoffs, and Paul McLean has scored for Winnipeg.
Here it's 3-3 with 8:09 left in the second period. For Quebec, Anton Stastny with 1, Michel Goulet with a pair. The Montreal goals by Max Naslund, Bobby Smith, and Guy Carbonneau. And they're whooping it up here in beautiful Quebec City.
Well, the thing is, if you want to win in this building, you want to keep this crowd quiet. They are not quiet tonight.
Chelios from the point, a shot blocked. Smith shoots, he scores! Smith from a seemingly impossible angle. And Montreal has the lead again.
Well, now,
they're arguing that the puck, I think, went under the side of the net.
Well, I don't think it did, but I'll tell you what happens on Bobby Smith. He's so tall that when he swung around, we're going to have to look at this. He gets such an angle because that reach of his, and he got an angle on the net. But now they're arguing. Michel Bergeron was the first one to start yelling that it went under the net. The goal judge is saying, no, it didn't. He turned the light. Let's take a look at it now. There's Bobby Smith, number 15. He'll come to the side of the net now, as is his role. Now it follows him around. He swings around. Now that's that reach of his. And it looked like it's squeezed between the pad and the goalpost to me. Let's see if we can get a better view of it here now. Here's Smith. Again, that reach. And into the net it goes.
Now, as the argument about whether it's a goal or not continues, some players start to push and shove down in front of the Quebec goal.
Well, I mean, Deblois is in the middle of that there, number 27. Chelios. Well,
Ron, I really couldn't tell whether the puck went in the net by his skate or it went under the side of the net.
Well, now we got a fight. That's Rooney, I think.
And Mark Hunter.
Well, they were... Well, right now Rooney's getting the worst of this. As little Dale Hunter's on top of him.
I think it's Mark Hunter for Montreal. No, it's not.
No, it's Rooney. I'm pretty sure it's Rooney there. And he's a pretty big fellow. He's just being beaten here by... But this isn't going to stop here. There's an awful lot of milling around going on away from the fight.
Well, both teams have more than the normal 5 players on the ice.
Well, we were in the middle of a change here because of the goal. The linesmen are tied up. If another fight now, Gosselin just slammed his stick at the goal judge.
By the way, as we said at the outset, the off-ice officials for this game are neutral. They're from Buffalo tonight.
Bobby Smith has the goal. It is 4-3. That goal is not going to be erased. All right, now here's Gosselin from behind the net, and this is where he slammed his stick against the glass. That's an intimidating thing when you're sitting behind that. I don't care how many years you've been facing pucks being drifted at you.
It was Mann who was into the fight for Quebec, by the way, and now as he's ushered towards the penalty box, he almost gets into it with another of the Canadians over there.
And
Chris Nyland, who's in the box. And there goes Mann to the dressing room. And Jacques Lemaire looks on from the Montreal bench, his team leading 4-3 from Quebec City. The Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV.
General Motors has important news for all car and truck buyers. For a limited time, there is 9.9% credit available on a wide selection of GM vehicles. 9.9% on Chevy Cavalier, 9.9% on Pontiac Sunbird and Fiero, 9.9% on Cadillac Cimarron, 9.9% on Chevy S10 and GMC S15 pickups. What's more, 9.9% on Olds Forenzas and Buick Skyhawks. 9.9% credit is available for a limited time. See your participating GM dealer for details.
Now we've got some problems here down at the goal mouth there. You see the pipe. Now that is part of the magnetic system that anchors nets here. And it looks like it's been not only, well, it's come out of the, that's the part that goes up into the net. And you see the magnetic part there. And now they're going to have to repair that. It's just lying on the ice there. Gosselin continues to skate around, and the crew is coming up. And Bobby Smith has himself a goal here. And for Smith, well, now they've given it to Mark Hunter. Now, how in the world did Mark Hunter get credit for a goal that he wasn't anywhere near? They've apparently credited it to Hunter. Now, we've got game misconducts going out to Jimmy Mann and Steve Rooney. That was for that rather lengthy fight. I thought it was Mark Hunter there, or Dale Hunter that was involved in that. It was Mann. So Mann and Rooney have been given fighting majors plus game misconducts, and they're gone for the rest of the night.
I, like you, Ron, can't understand how Mark Hunter would get the goal. I don't know whether it went in legally or in under the side. I'm not sure of that. But I was quite sure that Bobby Smith did put it in.
All right, the action out of town is we'll go right now to the go-ahead goal here. Number 22 for the Philadelphia Flyers is Rick Tocchet. And there he comes into the slot to get that nifty pass in front, and he's got Billy Smith cold, slides it into the corner to the glove side. Philadelphia with that goal has gone in front of the Islanders 2-1. They're looking to go ahead 3-0 in that series.
Now they've changed the scoring on the goal as we predicted. Bobby Smith does get the goal. And it's 4-3 for Montreal. Bobby Smith second of this game and is fifth of the playoffs. And we're ready to resume action. 8:03 left here in the period.
And just to update that Winnipeg game, Lundholm scoring his second at 13:25 of the first. 2-1 Winnipeg over Edmonton. So they've reported in that series now. The Jets have.
Bobby Smith gets the goal. Hunter the assist. 11:57 the time. And on the same play, Jimmy Mann and Steve Rooney get 5-minute majors for fighting as well as game misconduct. Bob Myers ready to drop the puck at center ice. Hunter out there for the face-off for Quebec against Carbonneau for Montreal, and it's Chelios for the Canadiens. Scoops the puck up high into the Montreal zone. Bowler back to pick it up. Trying to feed Kumpel. It was too far ahead for him. Goes down the ice, but Montreal should have played it, so there's no icing. This is Chelios for the Canadiens. Trying to feed one. Goulet held it in. Over to Dale Hunter. Shot up too high. Now Kumpel behind the net. Number 17, Kumpel. Squeezed out by Chelios. Dale Hunter shot wide. Goulet checked by Ludwig. And number 35 for the Canadiens, Mike McPhee, firing it over to Deblois, or at least to Chelios. And center to McPhee. Trying to barge through the defense. Rossbourg was there and shoots it back to center. Ludwig to Mark Hunter. Now his brother Dale ties up Mark on the play. Rossbourg with the puck. And the Hunter brothers had their sticks up there.
Gave him a little shot, didn't he?
Ludwig feeding Mario Tremblay for the Canadiens. Now to Carbonneau. Shot in. Bowler is there, and here's Dale Hunter to Goulet. Leaving it for Dale Hunter. Shot right on. Penny a stick save, and Mondu has it for Montreal. Gets by Peter Stastny, but Marois is there. Now Peter Stastny back to Marois. To Anton Stastny. Now to Sauvé, number 15. Jean-Francois Sauvé dumping it in. Chelios is there to clear it, and here's Tremblay for the Canadiens. Fired it all the way down the ice. And as Marois goes back to play it, it's icing against Montreal. Let's go back to that go-ahead goal by Bobby Smith.
All right, we're going to get a look at it here. They've been searching all of the tapes now. This has really slowed down. We'll watch Bobby Smith at the side of the net here as we get it going, and watch it roll to the goal mouth and underneath the net. And the goal judge didn't spot it. There he is. He's been under fire. Tough one to call, but apparently the net there had moved off. That's that magnetic net, or at least had sprung up enough to allow the puck to slide underneath.
Here the Nordiques can't hold it in, and Deblois breaks out for Montreal. Centered, and Gainey deflects it wide. Gainey was pretty well checked by Maxwell and really never got the deflection away. Quebec clearing one all the way down the ice. Robinson back, and this is icing against Quebec. Well, I think, Ron, as you pointed out, with the way we slowed down the replay, you can see the puck go under the side of the net.
Well, it took us. This whole business of should replays be used in games. I remember talking to Bruce Hood earlier this year in Buffalo one night. He says he thinks, the former and now retired NHL referee, he thinks that replays should come in. I don't. I think the game should be refereed on the ice. But there's an example where we went from replay to replay to replay and finally found something that proves it. We could have waited all night to get this one settled. It's tough on the Nordiques, of course. They have a goal scored on them that, in fact, was not scored legally, but that's the way it is. It happens to every team, and somebody who is wiser than I am says it evens out at the end of the year.
Try and tell that to Michel Bergeron and the Nordiques right here. Face off. Puck dropped unfairly. They'll do it over again deep in the Quebec zone. We have 5:52 left in the second period. Montreal leading 4-3. The Canadiens have won 5 straight games here at Le Coliseum. 4 regular season games this year and their last visit here in the playoffs last year. Here's Matt Naslund dropping it back for Robinson. Flipping one to Smith. Leads to Naslund. Moeller and Naslund go in after it. Moeller takes Naslund out, and Stastny has it for Quebec. Number 26, Peter Stastny, ahead to Cote. Taken out by Green, and Smith gets the puck. Cleared it. Moeller held it in. Moeller shooting one. Penny the save. Penalty coming up. Another shot. Penalty coming up against Montreal. Peter Stastny trying to get it to Anton. Now to Bell in front. And as Robinson intercepts, now the penalty to Montreal from Quebec City. The Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV.
Every time you fill up at your neighborhood Petro-Canada station, you're pumping your money back into Canadian jobs, back into new opportunities for Canadian industry and technology, back into the ongoing search for Canadian energy. And to every Canadian who thinks that all gasoline stations are the same, Petro-Canada offers an alternative. Pump your money back into Canada. It goes a long way. Petro-Canada, putting Canada first.
That's Rick Green in the penalty box, a hooking call at 14:48.
And a close call in front of the net. Now watch Penny. He's knocked down here. Now quickly, as they say, he can't get to his feet very quickly. How about this? As if we move it on a little bit, I don't know whether the truck can do that or not. No, it can't. But he made the save on that slap shot that came back in there.
Here's Quebec with a man advantage. Dale Hunter upended, but gets it to Paymont. The Nordiques trailing 4-3 and on a power play. Paymont and Marois shot just wide as that hit somebody and deflected. Sauvé to Paymont. Dale Hunter now for Quebec. Squeezed out by Chelios. Into the corner it is Paymont. Trying to drop one back. That's intercepted in Carbonneau. Cleared it to center ice. Sauvé knocks it down. Here's Chelios for Montreal now. Chelios with a long shot. Cross flag glove save, and Mario Marois, the Quebec captain, leads this power play attack. Broken up by Deblois. Marois has to circle. Now feeds Paymont. And the Nordiques can't get across center ice at this point against the Montreal penalty killing, led by Deblois. Here's Sauvé to Peter Stastny. In on the wing to Paymont. In front to Sauvé, hopped over his stick, and McPhee comes back with Deblois with him. McPhee to Deblois on the pass, hopped over his stick. McPhee gets into the corner. Paymont now for Quebec to Sauvé. 39 seconds left in the Montreal penalty. Here's Goulet to Peter Stastny. Trying to center, Robinson there, couldn't clear it, but Ludwig does. Knocked down by Anton Stastny to Maxwell, deflected. And then cleared away by Montreal. 20 seconds left in the penalty to Montreal's Rick Green. Sauvé for the Nordiques. Takes the shot, drops it to Goulet. Robinson takes Sauvé out, and Peter Stastny has it. Robinson breaks it up and is able to get it to McPhee, who comes to center. Penalized player back on, long shot, and a skate save by Gosselin. Rebound. Another save by Gosselin. On the rebound try by Carbonneau. Here are the Nordiques. Anton Stastny wide by a couple of feet. Chelios trying to clear it. Bell held it in. Shot. Penny the save. Rebound to Moeller. A drive. And Penny another save. Here's Robinson for Montreal. Held in by Moeller. Robinson pinned in there by Ashton. And they hold it there for a faceoff. 2:38 left in the second period. Still 4-3 for Montreal.
Well, when last we checked in on Minnesota-Chicago at Bloomington, it was 2-0 Minnesota. Troy Murray scored to make it 2-1. Number 12 here is Tom Lysiak. And he's going to score as the puck comes out. Watch Lysiak floating around in the slot, the dark uniform. And finally, they get the puck out to him. And that tied the game up at 2-2. Well, that's the way it stands right now. So they got a tie hockey game right here, 4-3. Montreal leading Quebec, and what a sequence of action we just had through the power play and then after the penalty had expired.
Here's Kumpel for Quebec from a face-off. His shot wide. Cote trying to center. Chelios broke it up, and Tremblay feeds Mondu. Over to Naslund, who had to circle back. Mondu gets it and drops it to Ludwig. To Chelios. Now to Tremblay. Bell checks him, and Cote flips it in for the Nordiques. Ludwig back after it. Trying to clear one. Everybody missed it, and it comes to center. And Bruce Bell has it for Quebec. Here's Moeller trying to flip one out into the Montreal zone. Ludwig has it to Chelios. Now to Mondu to Tremblay. Ahead to Naslund. Broken up by Marois. Mondu dropping it to Ludwig. Now to Naslund. Naslund trying to scoop it in front on a backhander. Did. Mondu couldn't get a shot up. Green held it in, but now Marois for Quebec. To Payma. A minute and a half left in the second period. Payma firing it in. And Penny sets it up for Green, who feeds Boisvert at center. Now to DeBlois. Moeller intercepting that. Here's Gillis for Quebec to Payma, and the play is offside at the Montreal blue line. Let's go to our CTV studio, and here's Dan Matheson.
Thanks very much, Dan. In our second period intermission, we will be talking with one of the architects of this Nordiques team, General Manager Maurice Filion. 2 minutes in the press box, and John Garrett is back with the highlights.
There you see Paul Gillis ready for the face-off. By the way, we remind you that following this game, our analysts, Ron Roosh and John Garrett, will select the Carling O'Keefe Sports Game Stars. As part of that selection, $500 will be donated by Carling O'Keefe Sports to the Minor Hockey Association of the First Stars Choice.
Well, it's going to be tough when there are two teams that are playing pretty well out there. They're like fighters, though, aren't they, Dan? You get moments there where the Canadians will go on offense, and they seem to have the Nordic on the ropes, and then it's counter-punching, and back come the Nordic. Great hockey, tremendous hockey game here.
After that last offensive play, the last couple of minutes have settled down into very close checking.
Well, it'll open up again. You watch.
Here's Robinson to Boisvert. Boisvert feeds it to Carbonneau. Couldn't get around Peter Stastny. We're in the final minute here of the second period. The ex-North Star, Brad Maxwell, trying to move it out of there. Carbonneau tenaciously forechecking, and the Nordiques have to come back and help out. Goulet then flips it down the ice, and as Robinson goes back to play it, this will be an icing call against Quebec. Well, hope you're enjoying the action from Le Coliseum tonight, because we'll have more of the same on Thursday night in Game 4 of this Adams Division Series.
The O-line, you ain't seen nothing yet. The Canadians and the Nordiques, the battle for Quebec right here, 7:30 Thursday night. We're back on the air from the Coliseum. Well, I'll tell you, everything that they, you know, sometimes you get a preview of series and you say this is going to be great. It doesn't turn out. You're guaranteed when the Canadians and the Nordic meet. First game, not too good. Both teams came off very, very tough series. The Canadians against the Bruins, the Nordic against the Buffalo Sabres. 5-game series. First game, they just kind of skated out there. But this one, well, it was the game Thursday and this one.
Face-off won by Quebec. Marois, now we're going to get more penalties back of the play. I think it was Ashton and Carbonneau had their sticks up, and more penalties handed out by Bob Myers right here.
Well, Carbonneau has been very, very much involved in this hockey game. Gillis, I think, is the one who's going to get it. Here's the face-off, and they got a little involved right in the face-off circle. Well, the headlock isn't really what you want. And so they'll head for the dressing room as, of course, we've got less than a minute remaining in the period.
So it's Paul Gillis who gets the penalty for Quebec and Carbonneau for Montreal. And we're down to 37 seconds left here in the second period. You know, Ron, you were talking earlier about whether instant replays, as we show the viewers at home, should be used to make a decision for the officials. One of the big problems with that is you'd have to have the same camera angles, camera locations in all 21 buildings in the NHL before you could pass a rule like that. But some nights there's no telecast in some cities, and you would have to go to a great deal of expense to install all that equipment.
And how many cameras would it take to get every angle possible?
Sometimes 8 of them can't tell.
Yep.
30 seconds left in the period as the Nordiques move it out of there. Here's Goulet. Dropping one back. Another penalty coming up. Penny makes a save there on Marois. And now a hooking penalty coming up against Montreal, and they'll be 2 men short. And the Nordiques just won, and Bob Myers is sending them off left and right here.
Yes, there it is on Goulet as he was coming across the line. What a game Goulet's played. And you start to see that when a guy is having a great game. You start getting those restraining fouls, and there's Gainey, who saw Goulet get a bit of a jump on him, and there was no way that he was going to let that happen in the final minute. So a hooking penalty at 19:40. And the Canadians are shorthanded for the final 20 seconds of this period.
Quebec trailing 4-3 in the game, now with a 4-against-3 power play. "16 penalties in the game so far, in this period. Plus 10 in the first, that's 26. And 2 of the penalties have been game misconducts. Earlier to Jimmy Mann and to Steve Rooney. Now Quebec with Peter Stastny, Goulet, Sauvé, and Marois. For Montreal, it's Walter, Ludwig, and Chelios, and Walter wins the big faceoff. Couldn't clear it. Marois held it in. To Sauvé. Pass eludes Marois, and the Nordiques have to go back. Just 6 seconds left in the period. And Marois will let the final seconds tick out here. And the second period comes to an end in Quebec City. Shots on goal in the second period. Quebec had 12. Montreal had 8 in the game. Quebec 22, Montreal 16. But it's the Canadians leading after 2 periods, 4-3. From Quebec City, the Stanley.
You might imagine that the Nordiques would like to have a video replay call that goal back right now. We have a gentleman who's going to say that. But the general manager of the Nordiques, Maurice Filion, is not a Johnny-come-lately to this issue. This is an issue that has been a pet of yours for some time.
Well, it's been brought 3 years, and especially John Ferguson really went at it. And every time we have a meeting, we're coming back with video play at the penalty box. I mean, we've been asking, but the referees are against. And I don't know why. I mean, if it's a bad goal, especially you hit the playoffs, and even during the hockey season, you can miss the playoffs just by the 1 goal. So it's so important for every one of us. But John Ferguson has been asking, a lot of managers are behind him. We're all asking for video plays, and I guess it'll be coming back at the next meeting again. All I'm hoping for that the referees will agree. I'm not talking about every call, but I mean especially on goals like that. We should have television replay over there and then take a final decision. But I don't know why the referees are afraid to do so.
The disputed goal aside, how do you explain the Canadian success in your building this year? They've won every time here.
Well, I guess they're playing well. They're really playing well. And I don't know if we're nervous in front of our own fans, but we're not playing a great hockey game right now. I think right now it's 4-3. It could be 3-all. But anyway, we're not playing that good of a hockey game. We played better in Montreal Forum the past 2 games. I just hope in the third period we'll all stick together and play position hockey and play as a team. Right now we took a lot of stupid penalties too. I don't know if it must be the nerve, or we must be nervous in front of our own fans, but we got to get back to the basic of the hockey game, and then we'll have a chance.
Maurice, best of luck. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And maybe someday we will see videotape highlight replays to check disputed goals. Right now it is 4-3 Montreal leading in Quebec City. This is Carling O'Keefe Sports, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV.
The 86 Nissan Multi really gets around. Round, round, get around, I get around, yeah, get around, round, round, I get around, 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 get around, round, round, I get around. The 86 Nissan Multi is everything you want it to be. Major Motion from Nissan.
When you want to sell your house, it's good to know someone who knows how to make it happen
fast. Someone who knows more buyers in more neighborhoods than anyone else in Canada. It's good to know someone who's going to really work for you. Meet your representative from Royal LePage and call our house phone for your seller's know-how booklet.
It's good to know someone who knows.
I have a problem. My complexion is part dry and part oily, especially between and over my eyes.
That's combination skin, and it isn't unusual. Try new Cuticura soap.
Cuticura?
Yes, new Cuticura is formulated with cleansers to remove excess oil and moisturizing ingredients that act as conditioners to help your dry patches feel soft and smooth.
Fights oily skin, fights dry skin too, for a fresh, beautiful complexion.
Do you have combination skin problems? Try new Cuticura soap.
Be there on W5 for stories that touch us all. Be there Sunday nights on CTV for W5.
Tonight's hockey commentary, 2 minutes in the press box, features writer-broadcaster Jim Hunt of Toronto. He talks about the Stanley Cup playoff structure.
Let's admit it, the NHL playoff system is a joke. You play 840 games to eliminate 5 teams. What a waste of effort, especially since you know before the season starts. There's no way the Toronto Maple Leafs, Vancouver Canucks, or New Jersey Devils are going to make it anyway. So why doesn't the NHL do something about it? Well, for starters, the more teams in the playoffs, the more money they make. Besides, if you let only the top 2 teams in each division into the playoffs, as has been suggested, the hockey season would be all but over in a lot of places by Christmas. Harold Baldwin, the New England Whalers, wants to change the system. He'd like the top 2 teams in each division to make it, plus 4 wild card teams. Under his system, surprise, surprise, the Whalers would be in. I agree it's probably fair. It isn't likely to happen. You know why? Because this year, the first round of the playoffs have produced some of the best hockey we're ever likely to see. The first round wound up last Tuesday. Who could ask for anything more? All 3 games decided by a margin of 1 goal, 2 of them in the final minute. It may have been good management or just plain good luck, but the NHL wound up with some matchups made in heaven. Games between traditional rivals, the Canadiens and Boston, 2 of the original 6 teams that over the years have always come up with some great games. The Islanders and Capitals haven't been playing as long. They too are great rivals. So are the Buffalo Sabres and Quebec Nordiques. It'll be more of the same in the division finals. The Canadiens and Nordiques, the Battle of Quebec. The Islanders against the Flyers, the #1 team during the regular season. Winnipeg and Edmonton, 2 cities are rivals in every game they play. Sure, the playoff system may be unfair. Teams such as Hartford would make it if they played in an easier division. And that's what old Harold Ballard thought when he stick-handled his Leafs into the Norris division. Look what happened to them. Ask the fans. I'm sure they don't want anything changed. Why tamper with a good thing? I have one final observation. Why, oh, why can't the NHL provide this kind of entertaining hockey during the regular season? Perhaps we should do away with the regular season altogether. Just have the playoffs. That's one way Toronto could make it. The only way.
Jim Hunt of CKEY and the Toronto Sun. Coming up next, John Garrett and the highlights live from Quebec City, the Canadiens and the Nordiques. A 4-3 lead into the final period. Both Michel Goulet and Bobby Smith had their second of the night. We will get to those in a minute. First, let's start with Guy Carbonneau. And for the Nordiques this time, we have a high shooter, a good skater who's not where he should be and not doing what he's supposed to do.
Well, this is my good friend Peter Stastny coming back and watching the play in the corner and letting Guy Carbonneau go right by him. It's one of those things. Here it's coming up on the screen now. Peter's looking at the corner. The other man's covered. Carbonneau goes right by him, right to the slot, and bang, it's an automatic goal. That's why Michel Bergeron screams at them and Marion sitting up in the stands. This play, Pat Price takes it. It's a 3-on-3, and you can see Pat Price lug the puck all the way from his own end. That player, I think, should have probably taken him a little earlier. It's Bobby Smith. Then Michel Goulet makes a good play here, follows his own rebound, takes a long shot, and here's one of the defensemen, those dumb defensemen, tipping the puck from the blue line instead of letting the goaltender play it. Here's another great play by Michel Goulet. He could have had his third here. Larry Robinson's the defenseman back, fakes the shot, goes right around him, and does all this as fast as he can skate. It's amazing the way he can do that at full speed. The final one is that controversial goal, and you can see the puck's behind the goal line right here, about 2 feet, and there it slides underneath the net.
Bobby Smith, 5th of the playoffs. Whether it went in legally or not, it still counts. The Canadians are up 4-3. This is Carling O'Keefe Sports, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV.
When you asked for a truck that didn't treat people like...
At 1 apiece. That's the Norris final. We go to the Smythe. In Winnipeg, the Jets have taken a 2-1 lead. They have to win. They trail the Oilers 2-0 in the series. Patrick final on the island tonight. The Flyers might be just about ready to wrap up this series. If they can beat the Islanders tonight, it would be 3-0. 4-2 is the score. Ron Sutter made it 3-1 for the Flyers. Ryan Propp, who's having a whale of a series, made it 4-1. Stefan Pearson came back to make it 4-2. Talking with John Garrett just before we got to the scoreboard, he was saying that maybe the Flyers are the best team in the East right now. Certainly they're playing the best hockey.
They are playing very well. They're getting great goaltending. They're well coached. They're playing a disciplined style. Mark Howe is playing exceptionally well. That's the best I've seen him play. And Brian Propp is hot. They've got that star and they've got the defense going. I think with Propp and Kerr, they have the things that Stanley Cups are made of.
Another thing that seems to stand out, too, with a team that has so many young players is they just believe in themselves. They have confidence. Since the midpoint of the season when they started to beat the Islanders, when they started to beat the Capitals, they just took off.
They never had an extended slump. Like the Capitals went into a slump right at the end of the year and lost to Jersey and lost to Hartford. And then the Flyers never had that all year. And they seem to just believe in themselves from day one. It's amazing. Dave Poulin was a big lift for them. Tim Kerr stayed healthy most of the year. Mark Howe never missed any games, and now they're playing well in the playoffs.
Just before we go back upstairs, what do you see in the third period here tonight? Are the Canadians going to sit on this? Can they afford to?
I can't see Bob Myers letting that goal be the winner. He's going to call penalties against the Canadians till the Nordiques tie it up, and then he'll let them play. It's one of those things. I think the Nordiques will come out storming, and the Canadians are going to have to play a disciplined style with Larry Robinson on the ice for 18 minutes.
Well, it's 4-3 Canadians right now. John Garrett says it's at least a race to 5. Let's go upstairs to Dan Kelly.
Okay, Dan, the second period scoring summary. Montreal took the lead on a goal by Guy Carbonneau at 2:50. Quebec tied it. Goulet at 6:39. And then the controversial go-ahead goal. Bobby Smith from Hunter at 11:57 to give the Canadians the lead again at 4-3. Shots on goal. There you see, second period. Quebec at 12, Montreal 8. In the game, 22-16 in favor of the Quebec Nordiques.
Well, the Nordic forced to come from behind. They had the lead. They scored the first goal of this game. They have outshot the Canadians. The Canadians have got some very important saves from Steve Penny in this game. I must say that the other fellow has also performed pretty well, young Gosselin down in the Nordiques net. And there's a guy right now who doesn't want to see that home ice advantage that he earned so well in the first game of this series get away from him again, and it just may happen, but we'll see. There's 20 minutes of hockey at least remaining.
Here's Simon Nole, the assistant coach, who's behind the bench with Bergeron, the other assistant. Guy Lapointe is up in the press box somewhere. And we're just about ready for third period action. Hope you're enjoying it on CTV. With Ron Roos, this is Dan Kelly, and as the third period begins, the Canadians are 2 men short, and the Nordiques just 1. So a 4-against-3 power play for Quebec as this third period gets underway. Here's Miroir, number 22. To Peter Stastny. Dropping one to Sauvé, back to Stastny. To Sauvé again, to Stastny. Takes a look, gives to Sauvé. Over onto the other wing to Miroir. Turns, fires, stick save, Penny, and it's up into the crowd.
I'm not even sure that was a stick save. You heard a clang as it hit the side of the net, or that area just down at the bottom of the net where it wraps around. We'll get a good look at it here because we see the side where the puck hit now. Here it comes, and clang right off the side of the net. So face off deep in the Canadian zone once again. Steve Penny from St. Croix. Got all his relatives here, of course, to watch this one. St. Foy is the area to the western part of Quebec City where Laval University is located.
Not bad for a 10th round draft choice, Steve Penny, huh?
And a fellow that was just about to write his own career off a year ago, about a year and a half ago.
Here's a face-off won by Quebec. Sauvé for the Nordiques. Over to Goulet. Back to Sauvé. Closing in. Shoots. Penny the save. Rebound. None as Penny smothered it.
We talk about the coolness of Steve Penny. And again, there he was. There was traffic in front of him. He just maintained his position. Yet, I'll tell you what, I talk about there's the shot again coming in from Sauvé. And right through the legs. And he's right there. He took a lot of tutoring a year ago, not this last training camp, but the training camp before, from Jacques Plante. Plante was in the camp. Penny had been stuck in the International League. Plante just taught him one lesson. He said, just let the puck hit you. Don't play the puck. Don't try and force the issue. Let it hit you. Let your defenseman do the work. And he has used that lesson so very, very well.
Brian Walter against Stosny on a face-off. The Nordiques unable to hold it in and have to drop back. They still have a 4-against-3 power play on the ice. Here's Sauvé, leaving it for Marois. Winds up, fakes it, gives to Peter Stosny. He scores!